Hey guys, this is Bolo and today in this tutorial I will show how you can create this kind of CGI ads in Blender using Adobe After Effects tracking system easily. So before going to this video, a self promotion. So here I am working on my second channel where I will be uploading Tetris related soft body simulation videos. So if you are interested in that kind of videos, please do subscribe that channel and support me. So now without any further delay, let's start today's video. So here we are in After Effects. Now let's drop our footage onto this project panel. So right click, import, select the file, or else you can directly drag and drop your footage onto this project panel. So here I got this footage from Pixabay. Download link in the description if you want to follow along. So let's select this and drop it onto this composition so that it creates a new composition with the footage properties. So now if I play this, you can see we got this footage which is drone shot. So we got some rotation here. So in order to place 3D objects in this kind of footage where the camera is not steady, we need to first track the camera. So let's do that. So for that, let's select our footage from the timeline. Come to this tracker options. If you're not finding these tracker options, go to this window and enable tracker from here. After that, being selected our footage, click on this track camera. So it starts to analyze our footage and gives us some tracking points when it is done. So here our tracking is done and we got some track points here. So first of all, come to this advanced options, expand this one and look for this average error value. So here average error value is 0.30 pixels, which is okay. Anything less than 1 pixels is fine. In case if you got this error value more, that is greater than 1 pixel, just click on this detailed analysis option. It will track the footage once again, gives us lot more track points which may reduce the error value. So for this tutorial, 0.3 pixels is fine. So I will close this one. So if you want to increase the track point size, you can do that. So let's increase this one. So here in this place, I want to place my 3D element. So I will select the points here, hold left mouse click and simply drag around the points here to select these tracking points. Now right click, select this create solid and camera. So here you can see we got a track solid created. So if you want to increase the scaling, we can do that. So let's increase the scaling here and let's add an effect. So control space. So here I'm using this FX console which is free to download. So here I will add grid effect. So select the grid effect so that it is visible clear. Let's change this color to red. So now if I play this, you can see we got our track solid following the camera movement. Okay, so now we need to export this tracking data into Blender. So for that we will be using scripts. So here I will leave a link in the description for the video where you can watch how to download and install these scripts. And by the way, these scripts are free to download, and also I will leave a link in the description for the page to get the scripts. So after installing those scripts in both After Effects and Blender, come to this file, select this track solid and select this 3D camera. Come to this file option, scripts, and select this export composition data to JSON. Simply click on that, choose the location where you want to save. So I will choose a location. I will rename this as 777 and rest and all leave like that only. So it should be to whole comp and click on this export option. So now we got this data exported into JSON file. So if you want to close After Effects, you can do that. So now let's open Blender. So here I'm in Blender. I'm using Blender 4.2.3 version. Okay. So first of all, let's clear this default scene by pressing A on the keyboard and delete. So now let's import the tracking data what we have exported from After Effects into Blender. So further, go to the file option, import, and select this After Effects composition data. And locate the file where you have saved. So this is the file which I have saved. So select it and import AE.com. So here you can see we got the track solid and we got the camera. So now select the camera, press 0 to see through camera. So here there is no footage. So select the camera, come to this camera options, enable this background images, expand this one, add image, change this to movie clip since we are using movie clip. So let's select the movie clip here. So open. So this is in downloads only. So select the footage, open clip. So now we got the footage. So let's increase the opacity. So now if I play this, you can see we got our track solid along with the footage here. So now we need to place this track solid onto the grid here. So it will be easy for us to add 3D elements if the plane is just onto the grid. So for that we can't manually select both the things and place it here. So first of all we need to create an empty and later we need to parent that empty for the camera and this track solid. So let's select the camera here, So first of all, let's bring this cursor point onto the camera. So being selected this camera, Shift S, select this cursor to selected. So we got this origin point. So now we can add empty. So Shift A, come to this empty, and let's add this plane axis. Let's increase the scaling. So first of all, let's parent our camera. So here, don't select the camera, select this camera axis. So it got the tracking points, right? So select that axis and later hold Shift key and select the plane axis which we have created just now. Now Control P and select this keep transform option. So in the same way, select this track solid, hold Shift key, select the plane axis or that empty what we have created now, and Control P, select this object keep transform. So now using this empty, we can move the entire scene here and this tracking data won't be disturbed. So let's place this. So press 3 for side view. So I will bring this track solid onto this grid here, G, Z. So I think let it be here. So this is a bit tedious process. So let's place this first here. So let it be the center, and let's see, press G, Z, and let's place this just above the grid. So now you can see we got this just above to the grid here. So we got bit of some rotation issue. So it's okay, it won't be visible. So now if I press 0 and see through camera, you can see our tracking data is okay and we got our track solid onto the grid here. Now it will be easy for us to add 3D elements and move along x-axis and y-axis. So first of all, let's bring our cursor point onto the center of this world origin. So Shift S, select this cursor to world origin. Okay. So now here I will be using shoe model. So for that I will be using this Blender kit which is free to download. So I will type as shoe and I will search shoe model. So let's bring this. So here I will be using the shoe model. Simply click on that and it will be loaded. So here you can see we got the shoe model in collection, but it is not visible. That means it is way too small here. So right click, select objects. Let's increase the scaling. Press S and increase the scaling. So it got the empty, right? So let's select the empty, press S and increase the scaling. Okay. So let's rotate this one. So let's rotate the shoe model in this way. And if you want to move in x-axis, y-axis, we can do that. Okay. So I think let's increase the bit scaling. So now let's delete this parent. So since we will be using rigid body physics onto this shoe model, we don't need to have this empty parented to the shoe model. So let's select this empty which is parented to the shoe model, Alt P, and select this clear and keep transform. Now again select the shoe model, Alt P, clear and keep transform. So that means we have cleared this parent. So now if I move this empty here, you can see our shoe is staying, and now we can delete this parent. Okay. So let's place the shoe model here. So here I will be using this low poly model. So for this object I will be using rigid body physics. I want to make this object fall onto this plane. So select the shoe model and make sure the object is single object. If you got multiple objects in a mesh, so select all the meshes, press Ctrl J to join them. Now let's select the shoe model, come to this physics property, add rigid body and type let it be active, and mass let it be 1 kg, and I think shoe won't be 1 kg, but for this tutorial purpose I will leaving this to 1 kg only. And shape, this is important, we need to change this to mesh. So make sure to change the shape option here, and surface response, I think friction is okay. And if you want to have some bounciness, let's give it a bit of bounciness. And now let's select the plane here. So first of all, let's see this. So if I play this, you can see our shoe model is falling down and it is passing through the plane. So we don't want to happen that. We want the shoe model to be colliding with the plane, right? So for that reason, select the plane here, add rigid body and type change it to passive, and come to the shape option. I will change this to mesh only, and I will add little bit of bounciness for the plane also. So now if I play this, you can see we got the model interacting with the plane but is acting weirdly. So the reason might be the scaling option. So we need to apply the scale value. So since we have scaled this up, we need to apply the transform value. So if I press N on the keyboard, so here you can see we got the scale option like 71 meters. So let's apply the scale option. So Control A and select this scale option, and all this set to default. or else you can go to this object, apply scale. You can do that also. So now if I play this, you can see we got our shoe interacting with the plane, but I think it is bit jumping, right? So let's fix that. So select the shoe, go to this object, set origin to geometry, so that we got the origin point at the center. So now if I play this, it should act properly. So now you can see we got our shoe model onto the plane, and I think I need to reduce the bounciness and increase the friction value. So let's select the plane, let's increase the friction value and reduce the bounciness, and for this also I will increase the friction value and reduce the bounciness. So now let's play this and see this once again. So we got this shoe jumping on the plane and it is still bouncing. So I think let me change this to convex hull and let's check this once again. So let's play this. So now you can see the shape convex hull option is working properly. So in case this mesh option is not working, change this to convex hull and it should work, and make sure to apply the scaling options if you have changed the scale. And yeah, I think this is looking good. So now let's move on to this render viewport. So let's say this once again, go to this render viewport here. So here the scene is looking dark because there is no light in the scene. So let's add some light here by using HDRI. So come to this world properties here. Click on this yellow dot and select this environment texture. So here I got few HDRIs which I have downloaded from Polyheaven, which are free to use, and you can get any textures model from Polyheaven. Definitely check that website, it is very useful. So here I will load HDRI which will be matching to our scene. So go to this option. So here I will be using this HDRI. I think it matches to the scene. So select it and open image. So we got the image. So we want this to be transparent. So come to this render options, scroll down, come to this film option and enable this transform. So here you can see we got some light in the scene here, and here we don't want this plane to be visible, right? So first of all, let's increase the scaling a bit. So let's increase the scaling and let's place this here, and let's see this so that our shadows are completely visible. Okay. So now we don't want this plane to be visible in render, we want shadows only. So for that we will be using cycles. So come to this render options, change this to cycles, enable GPU compute. Okay, so now select this track solid, come to this object properties, scroll down to this visibility option and enable this shadow catcher. So now you can see we are not finding this track solid, only the shadows are visible. So now if I play this, you can see we got our shoe model falling onto the plane properly, and also we got the shadows. Nice. So now let's see how we can export or render this out. So make sure cycles is used, GPU compute is used, and this render samples I will reduce this to, I think only 32 is fine. So my laptop can't handle much samples. So if you want to have better quality, you can use up to 256 depending upon the time you can spend on render and also the powerful machine you have. Okay, so come to this noise threshold option. I will reduce this to 0.1. So this reduces the render time, and I think this is fine. Come to this color management options and change this to standard. And if you want to add some contrast in the scene, change this look to medium contrast or high contrast, whichever you like. So I think medium contrast is fine. After that, come to this output properties. So here by default full resolution is set, so I will leave this to full resolution only. Change, enable this render region, crop to render region. Frame rate, this frame rate should match with the footage frame rate. So let's check the footage frame rate. So come to this downloads, where is the footage? So here I got the footage, right? So right click and let me check the properties. So come to this details. So here the footage frame rate is 23.98, right? So I will change this frame rate to 23.98 only. So select the same frame rate as that of the footage so that it will not create any problem in compositing. Okay, so once the frame rate is select the start and end frame rate. And by the way, we need to bake the simulation of this rigid body. So in order to bake the simulation of this rigid body, come to the same properties, come to this rigid body world. So here come to this sketchy option. So here I want 250 frames, so I will leave this to 1 to 250. And by the way, if your scene is more, you can increase the time frame, or if the scene is less, you can reduce the time frame. So once the time frame is set, just click on this bake option. This will bake the simulation, so make sure to bake the simulation before rendering. So once the simulation is done, once the baking is done, come to this output properties, and here you can set the frame range. This is render frame range. Previous one is baking frame range, this is render frame range. Okay, so here 1 to 250 is fine, or else yeah, I think 1 to 250 is necessary. So it got some movement, right? So I will leave this to 1 to 250 frames. So 1 to 250 is fine. So set this accordingly. After that, come to this out option. Here I will select location where I can save the files. So here I have selected location where to save the files. After that, I will change the file format to PNG. Let it be PNG, and make sure this RGBA is selected, or else you won't get the alpha channel. So after that, you can come to this render and click on this render animation. So it will render only the CG elements here. We won't get the footage. So once the render is done, we need to compose it in After Effects or Premiere Pro or any editing software you like. So I will show you a single frame. So first of all, let me see this render frames. So 32 frames is okay. So I will render a single image. So render image. So here you can see I have rendered this single frame rate, that is last frame. So I will save this as let me save in downloads only. So this is the last frame, right? So I will name this as a last frame. So this is just to show you how to do compositing. So many of the subscribers ask to show how to compose it. So here I have rendered a single image. And by the way, if you render this in render animation, you will get the sequence of these renders. Okay. So here I'm in After Effects and we got the footage also. So I have rendered the last frame, right? So I'll move to the last frame and I will drop this rendered. It is in downloads. So I'll select the last frame and drop it onto this timeline just above to the footage. So here I got this, right? So if you have rendered the animation, you will get the sequence of this PNG images. So once you drop it onto the footage, it will follow the camera movement. So after that, you can do color correction. You can add any extra elements like smoke while it is dropping onto this ground and whatever you like. So in this way, we can create this kind of CGI ads in Blender easily using rigid body physics or any simulations you like. So hope you guys have learned something new from this tutorial. If you have learned anything new, please like, share and subscribe my channel to support me. So I'll meet in the next video. Until then, signing off. Take care. Bye.